Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. I'm Robbie. He's Mike. And we're here to give you some, light October sneaker news. Mike, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Still in Houston where it's 95 degrees in the afternoon, but for some reason it's like 59 in the morning. So if you guys hear me cough or snort, my allergies are kicking the crap out of me because we can't figure out what's going on weather-wise. But other than that, fantastic.
I believe A$AP Rocky said something like, my outfit inspired by global warming. And Mike's living that life right now.
I got long sleeves and shorts. We don't know what's going on here.
So what shoes do you have on, though? Well, let's do a little rocking and copping. What you been rocking in this outrageous weather?
Yeah, so what I'm rocking, it kind of stemmed from a conversation we had with Nick a while back talking about Nigo and his Nike. And I was like, you know what? Let's go back to when Nigo was still, doing some Adidas stuff. So I got the Pharrell, Nigo, Human Made, Solar Hue. Love this shoe. Super just
gorgeous.
Simple. I like the patch, like the embroidery on the toe box is done really well. It's one of those ones, again, we're never going to see, well, unless he decides to go back to Adidas, but it's one of those things that now that he's gone and we don't get to see that partnership anymore, it's cool to see things like that just hanging out in the collection. I forgot I had them until I was doing some cleaning. I was like, oh, let's throw those on. So that's
Do you ever wonder if Hello Kitty threatened him with a cease and desist?
With the little two lines?
It gives me so many Hello Kitty feelings.
Oh, 3 lines? You know what? I didn't think about that until just now. Don't give him any more ideas, right? He's already... Well, I guess he's not with Bape anymore, so he's not getting sued technically by Nike. So we don't. Let's not add any more to his plate, I guess. But they could if they wanted to. I guess.
Well, what's on your radar then? What you looking to cop?
Copping, got a couple different things. One is something that I've always wanted, and the prices on the aftermarket are super relative to this retail price, pretty cheap. But the Royal Foam Posit that just dropped, I found a couple pairs that are like $50 shipped. Under retail, so $190 after all fees and everything in. Really tempted. My thing is how often we'll actually wear them. On the other side of things, that Adizero Evo SL coming out, that runner that's also supposed to be a casual shoe as well, piquing my interest too. So I'm gonna see which one I end up going with. But both are really cool, of course. And I don't know. I realized that I pulled a U though this September, man. I bought 0 shoes and since the beginning of September up till now, I've bought nothing.
It feels good.
Yeah, it really does. It makes me think a little bit harder for the content I make. It makes me get a little bit more, get the wheels going for hopefully some better things. But it feels nice not to have bought a bunch of things.
So here's the devil's advocate. I really don't like telling people to buy shoes anymore. But the foam posits, I don't currently own a pair, but I've had a couple in my day. And they're a lovely shoe. So if you can find them for less than retail, I too did a double take when the foam posits came out. I was like, if I'm going to break the seal, I stopped. But if you never had a pair, it's a good one. Those are Royal Foams and then allegedly we have the cough drops coming out here soon.
Oh, I love that shoe.
There's been variations of metallic reds recently. Yeah. There's been eggplants recently. A lot of good foams, and if you're into that shoe, and we'll talk a little bit about, we always talk about Crocs. We'll talk about Crocs later, but yeah. Anywho, so go buy them. For me, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna go what I want to cop, than what I've been rocking. So when it comes to copping, there's 2 things I really want. The Packer and Reebok Premier Road is one of the prettiest sneakers I've seen from an aesthetic standpoint. Duh. No, but what I'm really trying to say is that there's a lot of heavy play with old retro runners or retro inspired runners or just the runner in general, and they all kind of look the same. The Premier Road, something about the caging and the way the vector sits on it just makes it look retro while still also new. That's not a really hot take. People have been trying to look for a sneaker that does both things at the same time for a long time. But, it's a little pricey. It's a little out of my price range. They need to fix that pricing on that shoe. It's gorgeous. No, because I mean, but what's funny is I'm over here saying they should have fixed that pricing, and I'm looking at sizes, and they've sold very well. So they've had no issue with getting them off the shelves. But that's one that's really on my mind. And a second one, I'm not kidding. I get getting fed like Croc content on Instagram now. Like my feed is like a lot of Croc.
I hear you talking about it. That's why.
And I stop and I look at them and I do laugh and I like them. So some guy was talking about like, you think your Croc game's better than me? I think he was Filipino. It's like a thick Filipino accent talking about someone saying their Croc game's better than his, and him just like going off like a bam, like someone would show off like Travis Scott's showing off his Crocs, like pop, pop,
slapping
pop.
Crocs on the table.
Pop, pop, pop. I really want the Batmobile Crocs, and like, do Crocs count? If I buy a pair of Crocs, does that count as me breaking the sneaker seal? Well, TBD. But like the Narutos, I've said no to a couple of them, but they finally did a Minato, Naruto's father, Croc, and I like those a lot too. So I'm like, the Batmobile, the Michael Keaton Batmobile Croc, and a Minato Croc. Oh, tempting.
To be fair, if you had to pick one, I mean, I would get Batmobile just to put into this office somewhere. But the Minato ones, I think, were probably more wearable.
Oh, dude, they're both going like straight to foot, man. And I'm gonna run around the house yelling like, "Look at how fast my Batmobile shoes makes me!" Running, sprinting.
Actual sport mode, like vigilante mode. Is that what you call it?
Vigilante mode. Oh my, that's a good one. So yeah, full vigilante mode. But man, those Premier Roads, I'll get them next time. Road Premiers, I'll get them next time. For what I've been rocking, went on a little vacation recently, and I only brought 3 shoes. Bought a pair of Ons to run in. Nice. Obviously, got to bring a pair of Ons to run in every time. The second shoe was the Air Moab, because I was outdoors a lot, doing a lot of hiking, and I'm like, you know what? I've probably worn these 5 times since September 2021 or 20. Oh, so might as well put some play to them. And walking through the woods, leaves, everything. Lo and behold, the Moab does great in all conditions. It's almost like the gear was invented for it. No way. It's just fun. I say that jokingly because people try so hard to not get their shoes dirty. And there's shoes, if you're wearing an all-white pair of like 1-stars or Air Force Ones or Superstars, I get it. You don't want to get them dirty. But like an ACG shoe, let it go. Get over yourself. Get the shoe dirty. So the third shoe I brought was the Benito, because I spoke a couple episodes ago about really wanting these, and Adidas was super nice and sent them my way. So I was like, you know what? It's a sign. I'm not just going to like do what so many sneakerheads, myself included, would normally do, was like look at them, put them back in the closet, or put them on one time and then put them back in the closet. So I wore these almost every day for 8 days, and I've still been wearing them nonstop. And I like them. All that to say, I love the Benitos. They're one of the few, just any kind of lifestyle sneaker that I've worn that's actually comfortable straight out of the box. Yeah. And when I got them, I said on the podcast that there was 2 different insoles in them. I've been rocking the cushion one, and for real, insane comfort. Like I've never had a pair of shoes not be like like a purposeful running shoe or a basketball shoe that has like tech built into it to make it comfortable. Yeah. This shit just happens to have a nice insole and it feels good, and I'm not mad at it. But here's my weird question to people. So I've worn these probably 10 times, like 10 different days in the last month, and they're still not dirty really on the bottom. It always weirds me out when that happens. When I've been walking through the city, I've walked in many places, and if the bottoms don't grab the dirt, did that ever happen to you, listener or Mike?
Well,
Is that
I don't have that pair of Gazelles, but I do have a couple of Gazelle Indoors, which I think is the best casual shoe from Adidas. Just, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but no, mine the same way. I've worn mine, and they have not. They look brand new still, and I've worn them, which is really cool.
Like, what are these coated in? What animal was tested on? I'm kidding. Right. Who knows? I'm not saying Adidas tests on animals, but like, what happened here to where that could be something? And
what's the stuff they spray in pans? What's that coating?
Teflon.
Teflon. It's like Teflon on the outsole where everything just slides off of it.
Who's the Teflon Don? P. Diddy? Pause. Oh. It's not. So I mean, another beautiful thing about sneakers and why I'll still always kind of love them. I didn't realize there's like a nice canvas. This here is canvas going all throughout the bottom. Because this is leather. This is like, hairy suede. But for some reason, that's going to get dirty as hell. Kind of annoys me. I wish that wasn't this.
But that shoe looks good after being worn.
I will.
Does that have extra cushion in the ankle more than a normal Gazelle?
Yes.
Oh,
they are like padded. Like I'm not just saying this because Adidas sent them, but like Benito did a bien trabajo, amigo. God damn, like he did a.
I'm going to try to get that. There's a new pair coming out. I don't know if you saw them, but there's a Benito Messi version.
I did see the Benito Messi,
and I've always liked these.
Pause.
I just haven't tried to get them because I don't want to deal with it. But I think I might have to try to get a pair because I like the Gazelle, and now that I know there's more cushioning in it, I think I might have to try to get the
What's
next
funny
pair.
is I've been wearing them when I got clown toe happening already. Got a little bubble.
Boy, got that banana foot.
Banana foot. So I mean, Benito, Bad Bunny, whatever you want to call him. His aunts ask him if he has a lot of girlfriends. Just kidding. Mi pregunto Titi, mi Titi pregunto, ¿Tienes las novias? You know that song?
No, I'm just going to let you speak Spanish right now. Look at this guy go. Look at him. I don't listen to any Bad Bunny.
I'm a Bad Bunny fan.
They
did some, I think 3 different response CLs, Bad Bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say a straight up like a superstar or another campus, but they've like, for as popular as he is, they never really. They don't sell like Travis Scott shoes. And I feel like Bad Bunny's more popular than Travis Scott. It's just like the Nike machine.
I just think that you said it right there. I think the Nike machine pushes this, they're going to make sure they're sold out. But I have never run into a Bad Bunny sneaker after release day sitting at all. At least to my knowledge. Like I've gone and looked at them to see if I can catch one maybe after the fact. Because every shoe he's come out with, I've actually been really impressed by. Like there hasn't been one like, ugh, like everyone has been pretty dang solid. And I think it's just they're easier to get, or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more fair, maybe I should say.
So here's a not a hot take. Here's an accurate as fuck take. So like Travis Scott wanted to like have his take on the Jordan 1 or his take on the Air Force 1. The Bad Bunny stuff across all the Adidas shoes are an elevation of the existing model. He's not trying to reinvent it. He's trying to elevate it, right?
Facts.
So like all of the Response CLs, they were just a Response CL with like some extra like little flares to them. But that shoe's practically wearable. Like it's a practical shoe to wear, and it's nice, and you can actually stand at one of his concerts wearing those shoes all day and be cool. The same way like I can stand in these all day long. I don't want it to sound like a Travis Scott like Nike hater, but like I have a hard time getting excited for like the 5th release of like the Mocha Travis
brown
Scott
Jordan 1.
Yeah, and ultimately there's more. There's like a crushed velvet one, a crushed brown or whatever. A brown one, and not brown suede one.
Doo-doo brown. Let's call it
Doo-doo brown. So what's that number? I think 6, the 6th colorway. In the past year, we've had the canary blue, like the Laney looking one.
Yeah.
It's just like they all kind of get lost in the shuffle. They're always another Travis Scott shoe, and like wear the shoes you love. Don't misinterpret what I'm about to say, but like if I see someone wearing a pair of Travis Scott 1 lows, I'm just like, who are you trying like? What dude are you trying to fuck? Like, who are you trying to impress? That's the kind of thing, like, cause it's like straight men just wanting to dress. You've heard the additive, right? It's like dudes dress up for other dudes. Dudes for other dudes.
And also, it sucks because, I know some of these they're getting more available, but also you look to see how many people are getting these things backdoored and how many of these resellers have. It almost gets to a point of if someone has one, there's 2 thoughts I have. Same thought, who are you trying to impress and why'd you spend so much money on a Jordan 1? Or 2, are they fake because most normal people aren't going to spend that much money on a Jordan 1 low. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're 100% right. And I didn't think of that angle, but it's one of the shoes I see, touted or flaunted as a great option for buying a replica. If there's a replica fucking
just buy something else
page I'm scrolling through, it's a Travis Scott shoe they're selling.
90% of them are all Travis Scotts. It's every color and new ones you didn't even think were even available.
And it used to be Yeezys. And it's the same way like Yeezy kind of lost its its luster before
Yeah.
really losing it. But like the Travis stuff, yeah, I think it's either fake or like, bro, I'm not gonna like walk up to you and be like, oh, damn, you have Travis Scott's on,
Dude. Never.
bro.
I never had a reaction.
Who in what is Travis Scott? Those are so cool. That's the first one they've done.
So,
Damn.
okay, listen
Like,
to this. Listen to this.
yeah.
Because I need your opinion on this because I think it was amazing, Trey. I had a buddy of mine, and he got a pair. He won a raffle somewhere. He got the medium olive, whatever the new one was, and then his wife actually entered for a sneakers draw for him, and she won them. So he ended up with 2 pairs, right? One of the pairs I think ended up getting like I think she may have got like a half size too big or too small in accident, but he had his pair, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I got an extra pair. Some guy's willing to trade me special box, like worn once concept orange lobster." I'm like, that's not
Sell
a
'em.
question. Get rid of them immediately. Like,
Bye.
get the lobster. Why? Like, that's a more. Even though there's a couple lobsters out there, that is in my mind. I am more excited if I see a lobster than I am another brown Travis Scott. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that's a
100%.
fantastic trade in my thought process. I'm like, dude, you already have one. Now you get something that you're not going to probably see ever again. Get rid of Travis Scott.
And if I'm wearing these indoors, no one's gonna even notice, and they're gonna keep walking because no one cares. So it's like it's a beautiful thing.
If you know, you know kind of thing.
Yeah, that's such a silly thing. I mean, I was actually when I was on the East Coast, I saw a blue lobster in a tank next to a red lobster, and I was like, "What?" I knew they existed. I knew they existed. I knew they were real, but I had to have a whole moment where I was like, all right, here's the history of the SB Lobster concepts. Concepts also happens to be in Boston. Yada, yada, yada. So sneakers are fun sometimes. When, like, the lobsters, like you said, if you see those in public, if you got those fake, you at least know what you're looking for. Like,
You tried to do something.
I mean, you at least have some sense of personal style if you have fake lobsters on. Like, you legitimately couldn't afford them and you really wanted them that bad. I mean, go on.
I'm not going to tell you nothing. That's you. But
Well,
at least it's
also,
not.
we have a Discord member whose son has like a fake pair of Ben and Jerry Dunks. That kid's like 10 years old, doesn't need a real pair of Ben and Jerry's. It doesn't care.
I wouldn't give my 10-year-old a real pair of those because guess what? 2 days later, they're going to be like, oh, the Jerry's fell off. It's just Ben's now.
Yeah.
Like,
Let the young king live. But yeah, speaking of living, and Jerry Lorenzo has like 10 kids, right? Like he doesn't know what a condom is.
I mean, he's rich. He can afford
Yeah.
10 kids.
But, just talking about the Adidas Bad Bunny stuff, Jerry Lorenzo came out this week talking about how maybe the Adidas stuff didn't come out correctly because it initially wasn't like broken correctly, the news. Mike, what's more on that?
Yeah, he did. I want to say it was a Complex, so forgive me if I'm wrong in the source, but I'm about 99.9% sure he did an interview with Complex. And they're just breaking down some different things. And they got on the topic of Adidas and his partnership there. And he's very candid, which I can appreciate, about saying that it felt rushed. The announcement, that is, that when he signed to Adidas, he's like, they announced it 2 days afterwards, where Nike, no one knew until a couple weeks before the shoe dropped, where he got years to work with them to, really do the ins and outs of making a shoe right. And basically, he could tell the difference. He's like, when the shoe released with Nike, it was this huge excitement. And on the flip side of that, with Adidas, because there was so much anticipation and buildup over 2 years, and there was no work done when he signed, so it was like people got their hopes so high up. And although he thinks the shoe's amazing, it's just so much time had passed that the reception, he wasn't surprised by people not being as excited about the Adidas Fear God Basketball 1. So I don't see this as one of those beginnings of a break between the two. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just very constructive criticism. I think it's just a way he's like, look, I'm trying to do the best work I can for you guys. We gotta be able to keep some things close to the vest. Because I'll tell you this, and I correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, but with the Fear of God stuff, I don't remember seeing a single leak, a single, one of those potato shots of a first look. I remember just the shoes releasing or the press releases, and that was it. And I was like, oh wow, these are actually really cool. And with Adidas, it's like we got that crazy. I felt we knew what this shoes looked like a year and a half before they dropped because, again, people were just like with this huge lens over it because once the announcement happened, Adidas ran with it and had to lean into it heavy with the exit of, or I guess the pushing out of Kanye, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the elephant in the room that Jerry, of course, would not bring up is that when the Nike stuff released, Fear of God was hot. Like, Fear of God was, like, cool with a capital COOL.
Yeah.
Brands have ebbs and flows. Off-White's in the down part. We can talk about that in another episode. But same kind of situation where, like, there's a point where Off-White is, like, Gucci. It's like Louis Vuitton.
It's hot, hot, hot.
People, it's hot, hot, hot. People want it. At one point, you know, there was, like, the expensive Fear of God, right? The stuff that NFL and NBA players were wearing in and out of games. $600 hoodies. That's the kind of stuff that birthed the Nike collection and why it was so not just fun, but people were excited about it because the same way you're excited about Off-White, you can't afford that as an independent brand. But when they collaborate with Nike, the price point comes down to something you could work with. Yeah. And then you could wear those Fear of God shoes, their official Fear of God merchandise, without the official Fear of God price tag. But when that Adidas stuff comes out, you can buy fucking Fear of God at Macy's, right? I mean, I feel like
you can get the essential stuff at PacSun.
Exactly. So a product that can be found at PacSun is not going to have the same type of energy as a product that can only be found at Bloomingdale's.
Well, so, especially when they were charged, like, not the shoes, but when you look at the clothing, the prices seems like very mimicky of his high, like the big label Fear of God, not essential. When you're like, oh, if I'm going to Adidas, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay $600 for a hoodie. I was looking for maybe $100 hoodie. $80 would be better.
Exactly, but like we talked about concepts, they've had a way to have their drops be so infrequent and distant that when something happens, it's hot. Mm-hmm. It's fun again. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard to do that. I can think of more shoes than I can't that had a first shoe come out that was the hottest thing on earth, and then they try to do a run it back and it's not. An easy one, the top 3 Jordan 1, right? It had Chicago, Bread, and Royal. They've run that fucking top 3 motif back so many times to try to get to recapture some semblance of that initial drop. And I mean, even so, not in a negative way, but like Pharrell did it a million times with Adidas, right? Yeah. You drop those first couple human race, Hue, the HU, the Element ones, the NMDs, and they chased that high like a crackhead
to death
for years. Kanye, he got out of Nike quick enough to wear 2 shoes that energy stayed, right? It's elusive enough. Yeah. But by God, by the 80th pair of 350s, like the energy's not the same. The moment's gone. So I think that's what Fear of God and the Adidas stuff really had to run across. And the price point. You brought probably the biggest point. If you can't afford it, you're not going to buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not buying stuff like that. But you know what's crazy? I was just, I get this weird habit of just scrolling stores like I don't shop at. Like for example. I mean, it's weird. I look for sales because a lot of times I end up finding like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll buy that. But in clothing, I may not shop there a ton, but they always have something cool sitting on sale.
Oh, yeah.
And them, like S&S, I always like, I try not to look at those stores, not because I don't like them, but because I know I don't want to burn out on watching their inventory, so I just put them to the side. I know they have cool stuff after a while. But it was one of those two, Ind or S&S, and I was going through, and they had the Adidas Fear of God stuff like on sale in pretty sizable size runs, where if I wanted to get a pair of whatever ones I carry, I think one of them was the basketball. It was like 40% off. I thought about it, but I was like, I don't need it, but it's just cool like that. Now I could get it on sale, and I don't think that's what they wanted because things like that, you're not expecting it to go on sale ever. Like you didn't see a Nike Fear of God go on sale, even the ones people didn't like.
It tarnishes the mystique for some brands. I mean, some shit like the Dragon Ball Z game we were talking about before we recorded, the Rising
Sparking
names.
Sparking names.
Anime names, man. Crazy. But like I want that product, but I don't want to pay it full price. Like, so I'm waiting for it to go on sale, and like, there's not a negative for me waiting for a video game to go on sale.
No.
But like clothing, you want to have like hype behind. Yeah, that can't happen. That can be a big no-no. So I mean, here's my closing thought on it. Nike is still so big that like people want to wear the swoosh like anywhere. So people will only wear Nike. Some people, if it's Supreme Nike, it's even better than if it was just Supreme. You know, like it elevates. So that happened to the Fear of God stuff. Adidas, man, I'm paying luxury pricing on something that, if you're a particular type of person, which I am, you are, I can't wear a lot of my closet if I have 3 stripes on with Fear of God, like versus just wearing Fear of God independent label or even essentials.
Yeah.
FOG, capital F. Like, I can wear any shoe with that. But if I have 3 stripes going down my shoulders, it feels weird, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, and another thing is that Jerry really has an aesthetic that he's known for. Kind of almost like this boot-like aesthetic, which is not bad by any means. They're beautiful shoes that he creates, beautiful product, but it's not the right time for it now. Like, I hate to say it, and like I don't mean to say this in like a disrespectful way, but you gotta read the room. That's not the product people are looking for right now. Even expensive product are going to these low top technical runners that have more comfort in mind. Like, you can have the butteriest leathers, the most supple suedes, but if it's this big, super tall shoe, this crepe outsole is just a very hot and just more almost like super fashiony, it's not gonna move right now, because that's just not the particular cycle of fashion we're in when it comes to sneakers. It will come back at some point, I'm sure, but at this point, I think he should focus, while he's trying to regroup, take a couple things like the Adistar cushion, pull some ZX stuff and put your flair on it, because that's gonna get people talking about it. Because if you come out with a Adistar cushion that's just nice materials with your colors, and maybe exchange with like a gum outsole with that, because you like that kind of material, I'm quite sure people will talk about it, because it's just, that's what's in. And I know he does his own thing and he tries to stay like in his own wave, but if you're trying to sell with a brand like that, where it's just not, hey, I have $600 to go blow on a t-shirt, you gotta go with where the trends are at this point.
I can't see a world for at least 5 more. Like, I can't see a horizon where like that kind of shoe looks cool again, like the boot style.
Yeah.
Well, okay, correction. Rick Owens is cool right now. So like the Rick Owens like Chuck inspired looking shoe, that's a boot looking shoe that's popular. And also like loafers are cool. Yeah, that particular.
But it still looks Chuckish, right? Like, if you talk about the Rick Owens, it still has this overall feeling of a Chuck, right? To a degree. Like, it still looks like a sneaker, where, again, if you look at Jerry's stuff, if you look at he just dropped one on Adidas website. Super nice, but it looks like a desert boot. Like, it looks like something like
the Nike Field Tactical Boot.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking of. So,
Army one.
Yeah, and it's cool looking. I love the way, like, I'll sit and look at it, but I'm not throwing it on my foot.
Yeah. Did not hit. Now, okay, let's end on something. Well, we're not going to end. Yeah, maybe we should just keep the Halliburton stuff. We can keep this a little bit shorter.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, I mean, a third artist or person. Jerry Lorenzo is an artist in another way. But speaking of like Travis Scott and Bad Bunny, New Balance has not slowed down. The shoe that's popular has kind of shifted for them. They're definitely away from the 550 type thing.
Yeah.
And as an aside, New Balance is still crushing the running stuff. Like that Fresh Foam.
Yep.
Killer stuff. Nitro Foam. No, it's not Nitro. Nitro Foam's Puma. Yeah, the Cell stuff. Like, New Balance knows what they're doing. Funny how they know how to make a running shoe. But they have Amine, the Portland rapper, the Pacific Northwest god. He has like his 3rd shoe coming out now. I believe it is his 3rd shoe. It's a 740 V2. It pays homage to his high school he went to.
Yeah.
He went to Benson Tech. His nickname, the BTEE 740, which is Benson Tech EE. Oh, what does that EE stand for? It's
not like about the music or the music program there.
Yeah, it is like it must be.
I can't remember I didn't know they had the acronym, but I just remember reading up on it. It's paying homage to the musical program at his high school, that's a pretty natural story, which I like that. It's not
It's a
something
natural,
forced.
it's a beautiful story, and as a big fan of his music, I kind of understand his vibe. I actually saw him do like a TED Talk style thing
Oh,
a
cool.
couple months ago with Joe Freshgoods. It was like a New Balance event. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. But he's just like a really approachable, vibrant guy. Those two things might not always go together, but his vibe is that of a very average dude, and he has a lot of color to him, not just with his music or his lyrics, but
Yeah.
he likes to wear bright, fun stuff. So all of his New Balance shoes have fit that motif also, and like the banana one, like the green with the yellow,
Yeah.
that was a bang. I still wish I got that one.
It's
But
clean
these
one, I like that.
740 V2s, man, it's like blue orange, not blue and orange colorway.
I was like, what is a blorn?
What do you call it? Do you just call everything Knicks? And no, not you particularly, but like, is it blue and orange always Knicks? What's the shoes blue and orange is why I'm asking. Like,
You know what? I think a lot of people do that. It's like Nick's colorway, and people know immediately what you mean.
they know immediately. But when you say blue orange, people look at you like, what'd you say?
It's like bread. Is that you're trying to make that happen? Like
Blue orange? No, I'm actually feeling my E40, and it's blorge is like my new slang word I'm making up. But just what I'm getting to is that super popular Travis Scott, multiple releases, yada yada yada. Bad Bunny, still super famous. Then you have Amine, and there's I believe West Side Gunna has an Asics shoe coming out soon, or is it just Gunna?
Saucony.
Saucony.
Saucony. Yeah.
I don't know
West
which
Side
Gunna
Gun.
it is, or if it's a normal Gunna or from the West Side.
No, West Side.
Right? I wanted to make that
I
joke.
don't know how rappers get their names. I feel like they just go to like there must be like a spot office they go to and they say, hey, you know what? Look, you look like we're gonna have either little baby on your name or we're gonna put gun on there. We're gonna figure it out.
Well, they're just funny because like Da Baby and Lil Baby come
I
out
thought they're
about
the
the
same
same
person for
time,
the longest time. I feel like the oldest person there. It's like they're not the same person.
but then Gunna and West Side Gunna,
Makes sense.
two different people.
Is it West Side Gun or just West Side Gun? I'm not familiar with his music. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, the point I'm making is there's lanes for
We're
these
just
very
old.
popular
That's all
smaller
I'm hearing
rappers.
right now. We're old. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
we
getting.
washed. Get the detergent out. Get the Tide. We washed. But like these, almost like mid-major rappers, right? Like people who like, if you listen to hip hop, like you've heard these names before, or you know, if they're from your area, your
Yeah.
region, you're maybe more familiar with them. I know Amine more just because he happens to be out here, right? But
Well, I
I'm
knew
in,
Amine, and of course you got freaking Action Bronson. That's just
is it West Side? I feel really dumb. I listened to West
we're
Side
gonna look it
Gun.
up. We're gonna look it up. You keep talking. I'm gonna look it
I
up.
have not been a stranger to his albums. I feel really dumb not knowing the two. But like, what I'm getting to is there's a lane for these rappers and these artists to
It's
have
just
successful
Gun. It's
shoes.
West Side Gun. With,
West Side Gun.
with two ends.
And okay, oh, basically this Amine stuff is hot. Go buy it November 1st. This isn't a paid ad, but go support the boy. But in the same vein, Jack Harlow stuff with New Balance, like the rose,
That was a pretty shoe.
gorgeous shoe, but also kind of like fear of God and popularity and ebbs and flows. Jack Harlow's not cool. Jack Harlow's never cool to me. But
When they previewed this shoe, Jack Harlow was at his peak, and I don't know what happened. Maybe production got slowed up. I forgot the shoe existed until like, oh, it's gonna come out next week. I'm like, they didn't drop this already?
I had the exact same thought. I'm like, they're like a re-release or
My thought
restock?
exactly.
But like this, Jack Harlow he's cool for the kids and the whites. I don't know.
You said the kid.
I don't know. But he's like not cool, but the shoe's cool. Amine is cool and the shoe is cool. West Side Gun is cool and Saucony's cool. Not really. I mean that's like I don't know. Saucony's practical. But like just there's lanes. Not everyone needs to have a Travis Scott deal. Like the end all be all shouldn't be to get a Jordan 1 or to get a Campus or a Gazelle after you, right? It should, like there's room for many types of sneakers, and if you have fans, they'll want to support you.
Oh yeah. Well, my thing is this. I mean, Lord willing, we got a sneaker history deal. I'd be like, I would love to have between a New Balance, a Saucony, or Asics. Like, I feel like I would have so much more freedom there to, like, we could create something as opposed to Jordan's like, you slap your logo on there, shut up and call it a day. Like, all right, I'm sorry.
And hopefully that changes a little bit with some roster changes just to the Nike brand overall. But like, I love seeing Amine have like a one shoe a year release,
Keep it
and
fresh.
like so many people, this mostly happens with athletes because not everybody can have a signature shoe. I get it,
Yeah.
but like Paul George for a long time before he had his signature shoe, like he's just like the Nike ad guy, like the Hyperdunk ad guy,
Yeah.
and like a lot of athletes and musicians can get kind of just like, oh, you have a Nike deal, so like you're doing like Nike, your Nike print ads. Like we're just gonna put you in Nike, right? We're just gonna like, who's somebody I can think of
Print
music wise
ad.
that has a deal? Damn, I'm blanking right now. I feel
Well,
really
all the people
dumb.
that had deals had like they at least gotten a shoe. I was like, I was trying to think of someone like not obscure, but someone not as popular. I was gonna say Tiana Taylor because she had one shoe. But I
Yeah.
think she's probably used for print ads and stuff like that.
Well, Slipknot Jordan. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just a
So,
huge
like,
liar because I can't think of one example to back my own.
that was the only one I could think of who didn't have like I was gonna say Drake, but he has his own line, so it doesn't
Oh
count.
wait, Justin Timberlake, but they actually did give him shoes. Mark Wahlberg, they did ultimately give him
Okay,
shoes.
Mark Wahlberg doesn't count though because he got the super rare shoe for Wahlberger, so that one could be a valid case study.
Could be
You
musician.
get Tyson Matt, who has no idea how a freaking brand deal works, but that's a whole different story.
True.
Kevin Hart for a while, but he actually
There
had
was
his
the
own
Kevin
shoe.
trainer, which I thought was
Yeah.
good. The Kevin,
That was a cool trainer, actually.
she's my number one. I don't need nothing on the side.
Speaking of J. Cole's latest song, I don't care what you guys think about J. Cole. That song was fantastic. Port Antonio, fantastic.
Mike, I'm washed. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just a little less washed. I'm just a little less sudsy than you.
You know what? I got you beat for sure because I listen to the TikTok Now radio on Sirius XM. So I hear what the kids like.
Oh God,
I'm in tune. I'm tapped in.
Ear
No
to the
cap.
streets.
Skibbity toilet. I know what's up.
Oh God.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Anywho, go buy the Amine shoe. And if you're happy about owning a pair of Travis Scott's, hell yeah, be happy about it.
Don't mind us. We're just old and bitter, grumpy old man. Like don't mind us.
I mean, it's just, I think it's like the circle of life. Like, I was happy to get shoes at one point. I was really happy.
You sound like the man who did a sneaker podcast. Like at one point, I liked shoes. Now, Crocs.
There was a point where I would have less joy from a Batman Croc and more joy from an Air Jordan 11 retro, but the tables have turned because we're washed. But you can have your joy.
keep your joy.
I recommend you have your joy. Your vitamins and minerals. Go buy a pair of sneakers and be happy. Get your vitamin D. Pause.
Oh my God.
Anywho.
You can't talk to people anymore.
Right. You can tell that I don't talk enough to people. You didn't mix it up. Right.
You're away for 2 weeks, and this is what happens. This is what we
Yeah.
get when you come back. Like this.
I don't know what to do with my hands. We're going to end on this note. What's your favorite listener? What's your favorite hotel room movie? Or like The Office is always on, for example. There's always like some Will Ferrell movie on. Talladega Nights was on twice in like 2 nights, and I watched it. And he gets his hands up. The best part, it's so slept on. I never thought it was this funny until now as an adult, where Cal Naughton Jr. It's like, I'm marrying. He's marrying Ricky Bobby's wife.
Oh yeah.
And he's in his house. He's like, Ricky, you just lost your wife. You just lost your house. You don't lose your best friend too. And it's like,
You took these things right.
and I can just imagine someone being like in my life, like, yeah, I just took everything you have, but like, why are you bad about it? Let's hang out. You need somebody. Like, don't lose your best friend over it. And that shit is funny.
Dude, when you said, what's your favorite hotel room movie? I was like, dang, you know what? I went back to being washed because anytime we go somewhere, I don't know why my first instinct is always turn on the Food
Porno.
Network and just Food Network.
Food Network.
Dude, Food Network. I just leave it on, and it's literally like anytime someone turns, I turn it right back.
Go
Don't
back
lie.
to Guy's Grocery Games right
Hey.
now.
You go back, and we're gonna watch them run down this aisle and
Oh,
watch Guy's
man.
spiky hair.
I don't care if this episode is from Chopped is from 2009. We're watching it.
Have a problem.
We
Don't
do.
let me man versus food. Shh. All day, every
Man.
day.
I know a Food Network. I
Shout
know a
out.
Food Network channel hates to see me coming. See, kids, I know what's up. All right. Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out Mike's YouTube channel at Mike Guillory. Check us out on the social medias. The links are in the description of this episode. Leave a review. Do something nice. Tell us what shoe last brought you joy. What shoe last Marie Kondo'd you? So let us know. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. Tip your waitresses.